Greetings, friends and foes, and welcome along to episode 39 of Keep Your Friends Close and Your Animes Closer with me, as always, your anime composer, Joel.
And me, as always, your anime pianist, Robert.
I'm your anime triangle, as always, Curtis.
Is there a mathematical reason why it has to be a triangle?
No.
It can't just be like an oblong
I think it's a lot easier to just bend a piece of metal into a triangle than any other geometric shape.
Well, my composition requires artisan round triangles with no sides. Oh no, one side only.
One-sided triangles. Yeah.
Some people call them circles, but
can't be an ellipse. Wrong. Can't be an ellipse. It has to be a perfectly rounded triangle.
Yeah.
Of equal radius.
Yes.
Right. Interesting.
This is an anime podcast where we talk about some anime that we watched in the week, and this week we watched episodes 28, 29, and 30 of Revolutionary Girl Utena. And we're going to talk about that and more right now. But first, last time on Keep Your Friends Close and Your Animes Closer, they did the longest episode yet.
Yeah, we did.
Maybe an apology for that, but maybe not. Maybe just like...
Maybe you liked it. More content.
Maybe more content.
Consume it all.
It's quantity over quality, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those.
These guys are just talking about themselves. Robert, do you have any other follow-up?
Just that you're really nailing the predictions.
Anime foresight.
I haven't been keeping a track of who's actually been getting more, but I think you're in the lead here. Yeah, you named that there was you recognised that there was going to be a new character introduced in this final arc, just out of the blue, and he was going to be a super important character, and he kind of was for 2 episodes.
He might come back.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll
get to that in predictions, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't think he will.
You don't think he will?
I think he died.
We will.
Oh, really?
We'll get into predictions. Huh. I had some follow-up, and then I forgot it. I'm really bad at taking notes post-show, I guess is my follow-up. And so if there was anything that I got wrong, yeah. I mean, yeah, it happened. But let's talk about Revolutionary Girl Utena, abridged.
Jewel 28, title.
Whispers in the
dark. Jury is fencing. She smashes 8 competitors in a row. She's on a roll. Some tall, thin, blue-haired man behind his fencing mask challenges her. He stands up, and it turns out to be quite as good as she is, if not even better. He is revealed to be Ruka Tsuchiya, the former captain of the fencing club. There's a council meeting while Nanami and Miki are eating letters. Jury has been says that she's just been filling in as captain for Ruka while he was away sick. And just as Nanami's saying, "Who's this guy? What's his deal?" He enters the meeting and says, "End of the world is unhappy with all of you guys. He thinks you're all cowards." Ruka starts teaching some swooning girls how to sword fence, and Shiori is watching. Shiori, if you don't remember, is the purple-haired girl who has a thing with Jury. She walks off and she opens a locker and out falls a rapier, and he says, "Oh, you must have been the one who was polishing my sword every day, if you know what I mean." She admits to it, "Yes, that was me," and so he kisses her. Jury tells him to stay away from her. She's a good friend of mine, which is interesting. He ignores her and says, "Nah, I can do what I want. I'm just a normal boy. I've fallen in love with a normal girl and the normal campus of this normal school." He woos Shiori, takes her out to a fountain, and he kisses her. And while Jury's watching, he opens his eye and looks at her smirking. He's doing it on purpose, and he knows. Jury tries warning Shiori about him and saying he's a bit of a smooth talker and you should stay away from him for your own good, but it doesn't work. She just thinks she's being jealous. Shiori runs back to the fountain to have another midnight session with him, but Ruka's not there. Instead, it's Toga. Toga's there, his shirt flies open, he summons the car, which doesn't drive in, it just appears in the fountain.
Yeah.
She goes for a drive with Akio and Ruka. Ruka and her start fucking in the back seats while Akio poses on the bonnet. They show up in the greenhouse later to challenge Utena to a fight. The shadow people start to fish, but they're only catching junk. And then to the arena with all the gondola stuff. He is being oddly modest while they fight, saying that he probably can't win. He doesn't have the skills to beat her in a fight, and this is kind of throwing her because he's still actually toying with her while he's doing it and showing that he's definitely got the skills to beat her. But he's
her being Utena.
Utena, sorry, yes. He's toying with her until eventually the prince enters her and she wins the fight. Shiori claims, "Oh, it's okay, Ruka. We'll win next time." And he says, "There will be no next time. It was all your fault." And also, that was never my sword you were polishing all this time. Nor did I ever believe that you were actually the one doing it. You're a good liar.
Just not as good as me.
Yeah, just not as good as me. He says you have a talent for ad libs. Jury.
She just yes-anded him the whole way.
I know, right? He's like, you must have been polishing my sword. She's like, yes, and I'm in love with you. And he's like, yes, and here's a kiss.
I'm in love with you.
They didn't know how to end the scene at all, so it just carried on. Jury admonishes him for messing with her feelings, and he says, well, you more than anyone know why I did it. And ends on that. Duel 29, title.
Azure, paler than the sky.
There's a public spectacle in the school grounds as Ruka is ditching Shiori, and she's begging him to reconsider. He leaves, and she breaks down crying.
That's insane. It's such an insane situation to be in. I know that I lied to you to get into the relationship, but you knew I was lying. Although you were also lying.
You were also lying to me.
Surely somewhere under these layer of lies,
you love me, right?
We love each other.
That's what it breaks down to. It all boils down to the fact that we're both in love.
It wasn't even my sword. Wasn't it?
Utena sticks her opinion in where it's not asked for again, telling Juri that she should intervene to save her friend the humiliation. And Juri refuses, saying it's none of my business. Utena tells Himemiya about it while they're in bed, and Himemiya says, well, at times, people say things that they wouldn't normally say, and they do people that they wouldn't normally do. They do things that they wouldn't normally do. She, again, at this point, comes close to admitting something personal to Utena, and then pulls out. Shiori gets obsessive, leaving answer machine messages, and she's not turning up to class anymore. Ruka laughs about it in the car with Toga and Akio. He's scheming about how to win Utena. Sorry, how to win against Utena. Win whatever he's trying to win with these duels that we're still a little unclear on.
Yeah.
It's getting quite late in the game, but we're still quite unclear on what's actually happening. Juri visits Shiori, who is no longer coming to class, and she's let herself go, and she's looking like shit, really. She feels bad for her, so she goes back to Ruka and takes to tell him to take her back, contradicting what she said before about staying away from her. He says, nah. And then he lists all the reasons why no one in their right mind would want to be with her, which is pretty cruel. Juri gets angry and tries to punch him, but he grapples her, slams her up against the wall, and he forcefully kisses her, and she bites him. Then he pulls away, and he's actually managed to sleight of hand take her locket away from her. He threatens to stamp on it, and she drops to her knees to grab it, and then he says, you know what, I will take her back. Also, you really hate me, don't you? And then he walks out, and as he's walking out, she challenges him to a duel, which is very exciting because we're going to see a duel between people who aren't Utena.
Yeah.
And I'm like, awesome. And then they just cut to the end of it and she's lost. And we never get to see it.
They see the...
At first.
Oh, okay.
I was really disappointed. I was like, you can't be fucking serious.
Yeah.
We're not going to... You bastards. She's lost and she says, if I lose, I'll do anything you want. So she's lost and he starts to say all this Toga speech about the car and can you hear it and all of this. And then the car appears, and then he goes, hey, Toga, can you say your line? And Toga just appears from nowhere, spins around, and his shirt flies open. So she gets into the car at his request, and he plays her the answering messages, laughing about Shiori's obsession with him, just reveling in having hurt her. He wants to use Juri to win against Utena. She says that she'll go along with it so that she can release Shiori from his spell, if she gets this power of granting miracles and such. She challenges Utena to a fight. They enter the arena. He draws Juri's sword and they fight among the cars. This is where we finally get to see the fight between Ruka and Juri. It's sort of interspersed with the Utena fight, which I thought was quite a cool idea. The prince comes and Utena wins, but this time she actually wins by cutting off the locket from Juri's neck, not the flower. The locket smashes on the ground and it's in pieces, and Juri's just despondent, so she actually voluntarily takes the flower off and ends the fight.
What?
Pretty cool. It starts to rain heavily. Ruka disappears from the school at that point. Juri goes back to being the captain, just plodding along, doing her daily life. The shadows talk about some patient dying and having died trying to give the one he loves the power of miracles. Juri basically walks off into the sunset with Shiori following her.
But not side by side.
No.
So...
Yeah.
The patient they were talking about was Ruka. I thought.
Pretty clear.
When have they
metaphor.
ever spoken directly
I know,
to what is
which
happening?
was why it was weird.
Right, yeah. It was
So-
also different timing as well.
Yeah,
right?
it was after the fight,
Yeah.
and it wasn't at the place that the shadows normally do this stuff. So, only solution is that he didn't actually die, and it's a metaphor.
Right.
Isn't the whole show a metaphor? Like everything that happens in the show
Everything is a
seems to be
symbol.
metaphor in
Yeah.
somewhere, in some level layers. All right, Duel 30 in
What's
the beginning.
having sex with your sibling a metaphor for?
I'm not sure I want to know.
It should be helpful.
Duel 30.
The barefoot girl.
Wakaba is talking to a boy about first kisses, and Utena is overhearing them and daydreaming. Akio bakes a cake with 3 candles on it. Wakaba arrives at his house and she starts doting on him again, and Utena realizes that she might be falling for him. The counsellor and the vice principal are berating Utena for wearing boys' clothes. Akio arrives and saves her from them, and he starts to flirt with her and she totally falls for it. The candles flicker. Akio shows her his awesome sports car, and then he takes Wakaba for a ride in it. Later, she's screaming to Utena over how good it was and claiming that she's jealous, which Utena strongly denies. The candles are flickering. Utena tells herself that her prince is the only one for her, surely. But then she hurts her ankle playing basketball while daydreaming about Akio, so obviously he's on her mind. While she's hobbling home, Utena almost tells Hamemiya something, but then she's interrupted by Akio arriving in his sexy car. He makes eye contact, and the candle flickers out. She gets in the car to go to the hospital, and Hamemiya stays behind because 3 is a crowd on dates. On the way, Utena is making small talk, and she mentions that Kane is lovely, and the candles flicker again. He drops her off at home after presumably seeing a doctor, and then he caresses her ankle while taking her shoe off, and the candles flicker again. She says, "You're a real playboy, you really know how to handle girls." And he says, "Yes, well, we're alike like that," or something. The candles flicker, and then he leans over her, flicker even more, and then he kisses her, lying on top of her, and just basically pinning her down under the car. The second candle flickers out. Hamemiya is standing watching them holding the last lit candle, and then she's gone. Shadows do something about dancing shoes, and whether it's better to wear the dancing shoes and never stop dancing, or just carry them around and never wear them. In bed, Hamemiya asks if Utena is hungry, because she sure is thirsty. They talk about how no love is wrong love. The candles flicker again.
Trust, there's nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong, no love. It doesn't matter who you love.
No love. So, I mean, you could love my brother, I could love my brother.
It's all good. It's all just perfectly fine. Copacetic. Hamemiya says that she's in love with her own prince as well. Toga and Akio are driving while talking about how Toga has fallen for Utena since losing to her, and how she shook his core beliefs. They both lean back in peace at the thought of how brilliant Utena is. Kane turns up at Akio's house, angry that she never gets to see him anymore. She's brought her mother along. Akio entertains Mrs. Otori in the planetarium while swirling his wine in his glass. Mrs. Otori, Akio's adoptive mother, let's remember, asks if he is avoiding Kane. He says, "No, of course not. I love her. I'm going to name a comet after her. I even wear her favourite perfume when she's not around." And he leans right over her to let her smell him. He sensuously removes her shoe and caresses her ankle. That's his go-to, apparently. Yeah. And then the lights go out and they get down to business. What a player. Utena is daydreaming.
She says something to the effect of, "You're the only one for me."
Yeah. He says, "How's your husband?" And she's like, "Who cares about him?"
Yeah.
And then they get down to it. That was gross.
That's what he did. He didn't get back up once he got down.
Utena daydreams about Akio and that first kiss, and then the last candle blows out.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
Bullshit.
But before I forget, you said sexy car. Is it bad that when you say sexy car, my first thought is Lightning McQueen?
That's fine.
Probably, yeah.
Well,
Isn't it a sexy car? Did they ever mention that? Does
He's
anybody
more-
call him
he's-
sexy?
Surely he's sexier than like an actual Ferrari, right?
He's sexier than Made It. Right?
Definitely sexier than Made It.
That's all relative. Hey,
Was he sexier than
you know what, Joel?
Ferguson's car?
You know what? No love is wrong love. So,
Well, thoughts and feelings. How are we feeling still?
I'm still enjoying it. I'd like it to get to the point.
Yeah, a little bit.
We've only got 9 episodes left.
So there's not. We'll get there regardless.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I liked the change of pace in the third episode. And no fillers.
No fillers.
Yeah, no Nanami.
I really enjoyed all of the changes that they made for these 3. I thought that these 3 episodes felt very different to the first season, at least, and what we've seen of the third season, or third arc.
Yeah.
Let's start with episode 28, Blue-Haired Magoo.
What do we think about introducing a brand new character this late in the game? Is that okay? I feel like they kind of got away with it.
I think they got away with it as well because it was tied into the character arc of existing characters that we cared about.
Yeah.
And in a way, it was really effective because in the end, I was invested in finding out what his deal was. To the point where they could have kept him around. It's interesting that you guys thought that he died because I thought maybe, but again, I'm like, nothing that they say is directly related, so I don't know if he died or if he died as in the person who he used to be is no longer around because now he's a different person. I don't. It's hard to say.
I feel like he died as in he left the school.
Yeah.
In the same way that Nemiru's kind of died. He graduated / died are basically the same thing right now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I took it literally.
You took it literally that he died?
Yeah, because he said that he's been away because of illness.
Because he was sick, yeah.
And that's... and the shadow people, they said that he was ill, but he wanted to go back to school because there was a girl in the fencing class that he liked, Jury. And he wanted to help free her.
Yeah, I can't remember what the word is. He wanted to grant her the power of miracles or something.
Right.
That's Jury's whole thing.
She doesn't believe in miracles.
And she was fighting to prove that miracles don't exist. So that is all tied into Jury. Yeah, he might have died.
It is very if he has died and they were being literal, then it's the first time the shadows have been literal and just been an actual narration of what's happened.
Kochira.
It could have been a budget thing.
They were like, man, we can't afford this new character model.
They realised that they were 29 episodes in and went, we need to start describing what's happening. People are finding it too. It was like a focus group when I don't know what his deal was. What was he doing and why did he turn up? And they're like, we need to just explain it directly.
I like the fight with Utena. I thought it was a well choreographed fight compared to some of the other fights.
It seems pretty badass.
Even him being like, I don't know if I could possibly win, and he was doing really well while saying that. I don't know, it was good.
I really liked that it was a bit of a twist as well. When the episode opened, the first person you see is Jury doing her thing, and you're like, okay, this is Jury's episode.
Jury and Shiori, yep.
This is Jury's episode. She's gonna fight, and then Shiori runs back to the fountain and sees Toga, and he starts his spiel, and I'm like, oh shit, it's gonna be her that's fighting. What's happening?
It was a really nice change of pace. But I don't know if I have anything more to add.
I just don't. I just wish that they'd sort of introduced him earlier. If he felt like something that they got to the third arc and went, we kind of need a couple more episodes, and they introduced him then. Because if they'd had him in the pipeline right from day one when they started the show, they should have seeded him a little more earlier. They should have mentioned that there's a captain that's sick or something. They would have. It felt like he was just introduced because he's never been spoken before, and then he's introduced not as here's a new kid in school. He's introduced as having a lot of everybody in school knows him, and especially the girls who swoon over him and stuff. And it's never really talked about before. I think that was a bit.
Did that break the show for you? Did that take you out of it?
No, not in a huge way. Just it made it clear to me that he wasn't really thought about before these episodes.
Yeah, he was clearly used.
I don't like it when they introduce someone by necessity for the plot, and then make out like he was important all along.
Right.
Maybe he's more in the manga, and they were like, the manga fags are having a whinge because they haven't got their favorite blue-haired boy in here. We have to do stuff for them, quote unquote.
Quote unquote.
We're gonna make them happy.
Japanese corporate
Yeah, it's some Japanese guy smoking a fat cigar, playing his Yamaha with one hand.
I have a comment about Foley for the first time.
Oh, yeah?
I don't like that they keep reusing the same squeaky hinge Foley anytime anything opens. Have you noticed that?
I haven't noticed that.
Whenever she opens the doors before whenever she used to open the door and the water starts flowing in, right after the ring, there's that kind of squeaky door opening.
Right.
They also used it for the lockers opening. Pretty much any time a locker opens, it's the exact same Foley work. They've also used it for a few other things as well. I just notice it every time, and I'm like, just find a different file for squeaky door opening.
Hitting that budget so right.
You'll hear it now. You'll hear it every time a door or a locker opens. You'll hear it.
That's funny.
Episode 29, I thought it was good. I like that we got to dwell on Shiori being a psycho for a little bit. Interesting that you thought that Juri actually went to Shiori's house, though, because we didn't see Shiori's mouth moving when she was speaking. I interpreted that as what Juri thought she would say if she went to the house.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because we have a shot of Juri by herself, and then we just see the door opening. We don't actually see her travel to the thing, so I think it's her thinking about what would happen if I went to try and go comfort Shiori, and in her mind she gets it thrown in her face.
The way she was drawn as well, she looked like real dark. It was like almost like caricatured or really exaggerated.
Yeah, exactly. The way that it was framed, I didn't think it was real. I guess a comment on the blue-haired guy whose name I've forgotten, Ruka. Him being introduced so late but being in love with Juri was a weird plot point, but I cared about Juri more than anything else, and I don't know, he cared in his own weird way, and then she kissed him, he kissed her, and then she bit his lip, which I thought was like, yeah, fucking badass. I interpreted the end of the episode as Juri leaving the school. You guys,
I was just about to ask, do you reckon Juri's gone?
I reckon Juri has gone.
Because what we said...
Because where's Saionji gone as well?
What we said from a previous episode is that they're tied to the school while ever they are refusing to grow up.
Exactly.
And her putting the necklace on at the end of her arc was like, she's still in the school.
Yeah.
And now it's gone. It's like, I think she's...
Because that was also why, Shiori was not walking beside her. Like, they weren't together. Yeah. She was chasing, I think that Shiori still hasn't let go of Juri.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that showed, Juri's sort of independence.
Yeah.
That was great, yeah.
Because she walks past Shiori as well, right? And doesn't look at her and doesn't do the whole thing where she stops and...
Yeah, just Juri pays no attention.
Yeah,
just carries on walking.
I think Juri is finally able to let go of her crush.
It's really cool, yeah.
Yeah, I would be quite... I would quite like it if Juri's
it's just Nanami and Miki in the student council now, just the two youngest people.
Well, Toga's still around, but he's just given up on the council, it seems.
He just goes on driving.
He's just
driving times with...
He's gone through his council phase, and now he's into his sports car phase.
Shirtless sports car phase. No, it was a good episode overall, and I did like that somebody else got to have a fight that wasn't Utena, or wasn't with Utena. Good little extra bit. Episode 30. Goddamn, guys. Utena is confused because she's definitely gay, so I think...
I've given up on that. I don't think she is anymore.
You don't think?
Nah.
Maybe we'll see.
I think she's confused because she's just never had romantic or sexual feelings for anyone except for the romantic feelings she has for the prince.
Because she's 14.
Yeah, yeah, obviously. And then now she's falling for Akio, and she's like, "Oh, what? You can like other people?" So I don't think she's got feelings for girls at all.
We'll see.
Is there a hospital? He's like, "Oh, better take you to the hospital to look at your ankle." I'm like, "Oh, we're going to see something that's not in the school grounds." And then it cuts immediately to him back after having visited the doctors.
Maybe they went to the sick bay.
But he specifically says hospital in the subtitles, at least.
They just mistranslated sick bay.
Then they said with him saying the doctor said to stay off it. I'm like, so they have seen a doctor, but they chose to not show us it. So is it that they are deluding themselves to think they've been off of the school grounds and they've seen a doctor, and that's one of the ways that everybody is kept on the school grounds, is that they think that they can leave, but they never actually went anywhere.
We've never seen anything outside of the school, so that's possible.
We have seen in one of those filler episodes...
Nanami goes to India.
Sure.
For sure. Yeah. We've seen a hospital. We've seen
count.
the interior of a hospital as well. In one of those shots.
When Tsuwabuki gets like knocked out.
Sick bay.
A sick bay in the school.
That's the sick bay. Yeah.
Okay.
School nurses there. Sick bay for sure. Akio is just a player. What do you think the candles meant?
I thought it was sort of like a backwards metaphor, because you talk about like fanning the flame and like the spark isn't there anymore. There's lots of like fire themed metaphors around romance. And usually, like, when the fire is burning, it's like you've got a spark, and then you fan the flames, and when you fall for someone more, the flames are getting higher and higher.
Right.
But it starts with 3, and every time something happens that would make Utena, like, fall for him a little bit more, they flicker as if they're about to go out.
But do you know what they say if you still haven't let go of, like, your feelings for somebody after a long time? They say that you're carrying their torch, or you're carrying a torch for somebody.
Okay.
So, like, you're carrying a candle for somebody, maybe.
But then... Again, that wouldn't make... Oh, right.
For the prince.
Her prince. Those are the candles for the prince.
She's still carrying a torch for her prince. Or
and then when
torches.
when he's kissing her and stuff.
And now she's let go of her feelings for the prince.
Right, yeah.
It works both ways.
It certainly does.
Idioms.
Yeah.
English.
And what's happening with Anthe watching them kissing and stuff?
Anthe is jealous of her brother more than Utena.
That was an amazing shot with her standing in the background with, like, blue glasses. It almost looks like flames. Like
there was some interesting effects on her glasses. It was
I was in that very shot. I was like, man, this could turn into like a thriller, like a psychological thriller.
Anthe's just the bad guy all along.
Anthe could be like this would be a shot that would fit in with some sort of anime horror.
Feels that way when Anthe said bye-bye, like really creepy.
Yes. When she drives off to go to the hospital.
Get into the car with my brother and take you to the quote-unquote hospital. When they drive off and she's like, bye forever.
Some good episodes. Favorite parts, favorite bits, best bits.
My favorite bit was the fact that Ruka took over Toga's monologue about, like, can you hear it, the car and all this, and then he gets to the end, he's like, can you say your line, please?
That was great. Yeah,
and then Toga just appears and follow me to the end of the world and my wax appointment.
Mine was just this one shot of Wakaba when she finds Akio and Utena about to drive off in the car, and Wakaba pops up and she talks to Utena and she's like, "Oh, you guys like going on a date?"
Yeah.
Her face, the way they've drawn her face, she almost looks like a pufferfish. Her eyes are like looking outwards.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was just that one shot.
Is that where she goes, Utena?
Yeah.
Behind her.
Yeah. I like that. I like that in animation you can draw these like real exaggerated features on people's faces and get like this real simple expression or simple emotion of what's going on. I like that. I like that you can push.
Yeah, I like that too. But my favorite bit was when Juri fought Ruka, just because it was a bit of a different flavor, a little bit of different spice. And I thought it was very funny when Ruka called out Shiori for ad-libbing, because it was just a funny reveal. But yeah, what about predictions? We're supposed to do those first. My prediction is that I'm tentative to say Ruka will come back, but that's the only real thing that I can kind of lean into. I predict that Ruka will come back, Juri is gone, and Utena is gay.
All right, I was really copped out with the predictions last time, so I'm going to be solid with them this time. Next episode is a Nanami filler episode.
You've read the synopsis.
No. Next episode is a Nanami filler recap episode.
It's going to run for exactly 24 minutes and 36 seconds.
The episode after that is Nanami's fight. She's going to fight Utena. I don't know who's going to draw her sword for her, though. Maybe Toga. Not sure. And then right after Nanami's fight, the castle becomes accessible. I'm not sure how that happens yet, whether it comes down to us or whether it's like a ray of light in the same way that the headlights are all forming like a tunnel for the prince to come through. So I think it might be like something allows them to go up to the castle rather than the castle coming down to them. But yeah, we're going to see Nanami filler recap. Sorry, no, it's other order. I'm going to say Nanami fight is next. Then it's the recap right before the castle opens.
I don't think we're going to get another recap. I definitely think that it's up to the castle. The castle will not come down.
Yeah.
Because it's all about getting up, rising up to...
Enlightenment. Knowledge is up there. And
Yes. Got no idea what's going on.
Make one prediction.
One prediction is Tuga in the car with Akio mentioned that he has fallen for Utena because she challenged him.
Yeah.
Real dumb reason. So I imagine that he's going to be involved in a duel at some stage.
Yeah, he hasn't fought
Him and Nanami.
God damn it.
One of those.
Nanami and Toga double duel. They double team.
Yeah, I mean, all those and more next week on A Weeb in Review. A Weeb in Review is the segment where we talk about any other anime or manga that we consumed in the week, or any other weeb shit. Robert, have you brought anything this week?
Nah, man, brought nothing to the table. I've had 4 assessments this week, 2 assignments, somebody watching me teach other people and telling me everything I'm doing wrong when I teach them, and various other things. Just no time to watch or do anything.
That's amateur talk.
Sorry, man. Sorry, just no time. I've had 3 sword fights as well. People just keep challenging me. I'm trying to do my schoolwork.
Your life is an anime life at university.
Has anyone died at school recently?
No, but some guy did disappear, and then the shadows told me that he died, and I wasn't sure whether
they don't know. The shadows never talk directly to the... So you're lying. They never talk directly to the people.
They don't talk directly to them, but we can talk back to the shadows, as Utena did with the middle arc.
True, she
shadow.
can hear them.
She responded to them.
Well, never fear, because your composer is here, and I, of course, did stuff, because... The fuck else am I going to do? Something productive? You're right. This week, let's start with a manga, baby. I have been reading Sun Ken Rock, which is illustrated and written by Boichi, who is the artist who's doing Dr. Stone, which is how I found out about Sun Ken Rock. I don't know if Sun Ken Rock was his first, but it is no longer running, it's finished.
Sun
Ken. Sun Ken Rock.
In the same way of Son Goku.
I guess.
Yeah.
No, but that's sun as in S-O-N. This is S-U-N.
Oh, this is the stellar object.
Yes.
Sun. Right.
But I don't know if it is English. It's Sun Ken Rock. I don't know. The premise is there is a guy who's 16 and he confesses to a girl that he loves her, and she's like, no. And he does the whole anime thing where he falls over, and she says, it's not that I dislike you, it's just that I'm Korean and I'm moving back to Korea tomorrow to become a policewoman. Bye. And then she leaves. And so he finishes his year at school, and then he moves to Korea to also become a policeman so that he can be with her. But he ends up being a hikikomori NEET in Korea because the Koreans do not like the Japanese, apparently.
Okay.
And maybe the writer has some insight into that because Boichi is Korean, even though he writes Japanese manga, whatever.
Maybe he's racist.
Maybe he hates Japanese.
Yeah, it's his way of saying how much he hates Japanese people.
So he's a recluse, he's got no money, nobody will hire him. He can speak Korean by this point, though, luckily. And he goes out and he spends his last won on a beer, and he's buying it from a street vendor. And the street vendor goes, yeah, you have as much as you need, just food-wise, not alcohol. Right. We look after each other around here. And he's like, oh my god, things are starting to look up. And then a gang comes in and wrecks the guy's shop. And the gang's all like, yeah, I've made your payments for protection this week, old man. And the old man's like, I'm an old man. And so Ken gets up, his name's Ken. Kitaro Ken, the main character, gets up and beats the shit out of these gangsters, just completely smashes their heads in. When another gang sees what he's doing and go over to him, and he gets the shit beaten out of him as well. They take him back to their hideout and they say, we want you to join our gang. And he goes, fuck that, I want to be a policeman, no way I'm going to be in a gang. And he goes, alright, this is the leader of the gang now. He says, if you can beat me in a fight, then I'll leave you alone. I won't ask you to join my gang anymore. But if I beat you in a fight, you have to join my gang. So they have a big fight scene, and Ken he's punching and he can't land a single hit, and the dude is dodging and weaving, but he's waxing. Both of them are waxing philosophical about the nature of gangs and government. Like the owner of this gang, the Gunkin, are saying his pitch is that the government is essentially just the biggest gang because they have an entire nation as their territory, but they do all the same things. You have to pay them protection money, taxes, to get benefits and all this other stuff. And the only difference between a gang and a government is that a government is accepted by the people. And Ken's counter argument is, fuck that. I don't care about any of that shit. I just want to protect the people who are important to me. He's getting the shit beaten out of him, and then the gang leader realizes that he can't defeat Ken's resolve. And so he gives up. He says, fine, you win, even though he didn't land a single hit.
So to win in a fight, you've got to beat the opponent's resolve.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. And he says, okay, fine, as promised, we'll never ask you to join our gang again, because as of right now, this gang is dissolved, guys. I'm joining your gang.
Oh, yes.
So Ken becomes the leader of a gang.
Wow, just like that.
Just like that. It's just that easy.
Nice.
That's like the first 2 chapters. That's the basic premise, getting the ball rolling. And then he bumps into the girl, and she's a policewoman now, and stuff happens. I will say that the art is fantastic. I love it. I'm really into Boichi's style. The writing. That stuff was funny. That was what got me hooked. I was like, this is my shit. This is speaking my language. But it's a seinen action series, and there's a lot of whenever a girl fights, like a dude will rip her top off, and so her boobs are all out. And I don't really. That's a bit more than fan service. That's just like, oh, boobs. So I don't know how I feel about that, but it's about developing. I don't know. It's about staying true to your morals above everything else, and I can kind of respect that. When he joins the gang, by the way, there's only 4 members, and they don't have any territory, and they don't have any source of income, or an office, or a car. And so it starts with him trying to grow his influence and grow the gang. And all they do is fight other gangs. They're just a vigilante group. It's good. So I'm about 20 chapters in, out of 180. I'm going to keep going with it for a little while longer. Yeah. Also, a nice little thing. So I'm reading the volumes, which means just like the comprised version. And at the beginning of the volume, Boichi talks about how he draws, and it's interesting to see insight into how a mangaka does this thing. And he in the start of volume 2, he's talking about how he gets everything to look so photorealistic. I'm using air quotes because it's a cartoon still, but he says that he uses reference for literally everything. Right. And I don't know how involved with the art industry you are, Robert. Not that I'm involved either, but a popular opinion or a misinformed opinion online is that a true artist doesn't need reference. Right. And here's him showing explicitly, like, even his reference photos. Like, he said he has a studio and he gets his friends to come in and do poses and stuff, and he just essentially photoshops them together and then uses it as reference. Cool. So it's nice to see an artist sharing their method, because that doesn't always happen.
I don't know why that would be the case, that you wouldn't be expected to use reference.
Because true artists can draw from imagination.
It's totally a thing, yeah, for sure. Art. I would be interested in seeing that, because that sounds cool.
The manga, or just the part?
No, the part where the manga sounds cool as well. But I'd also be interested from that art perspective and seeing how his workflow. That is cool. A lot of artists don't share their. Yeah, it's like they just show you that final picture,
and it's really misleading if you want to get into art, because you're like, fuck, they do this in like 20 minutes, and it's like, no, it took like 6 hours. And that's the kind of stuff. Yeah. He doesn't. It's not that detailed. It's only like 4 pages.
No, but just those little things really help with how you approach things. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, no. So I found that helpful. I don't know why it's. They said he's hard like a rock, but like he's not actually that good at fighting. Although he does do some pretty cool stuff, but he's not that good at fighting. So
he can just take hits.
Rock. Yeah, he can just take hits. Right. Yeah. So Ken rock, and then he shines bright like the sun. They've said. I don't know.
Right. I got a anime question.
Go for it.
A lot of fighting in anime.
Yeah.
Is that why? Is that cultural?
I could answer why there's a lot of fighting in video games, but fighting in anime, it depends on what anime, right? Like, because I said that this is a seinen action series, so that means aimed at men, which is why there's tits. And the reason that it's fighting is because there's an action series. I would say that the reason that there's a lot of it is because an easy way of resolving conflict is through violence, right? Like, it's a visually interesting way of resolving a conflict between two people.
You don't want to watch this back and forth conversation take place.
Well, like what I mentioned,
not as exciting to see diplomacy in another
right.
It's like what I mentioned. What happens in chapter 2? But like it could have just been a conversation of "Please join our gang." No, I won't. They're having that conversation while fighting.
Right.
And it's visually engaging to see these two dudes slugging it out. And I mean, like, he's not... I really like his style, but he has impressive draftsmanship as well. Like, the way that he's drawing the fight is interesting. It's not well choreographed, because sometimes it will just cut from one thing to another, but the picture itself is fantastic. Nice. So you're watching these two people have an argument, which you couldn't do while fighting.
Yeah.
So it's got that to kind of carry it through.
In drama school, we did a thing called combat metaphor for a block, which was where we had to grab a play, get a scene where there is a verbal dialogue, a verbal discourse between two people arguing, and then choreograph a fight to it, so that you're actually like physicalizing the subtext of what's going on. So that was a real fun bit. I did a piece from The Importance of Being Earnest. So there's obviously no like physical fighting in that. There's no fight choreography in something like that. But it was quite fun to pick it apart and think about what's this. Is this feeling more like a punch or a slap or a nipple cripple, or what sort of a fight is he doing with this line? Is he trying to just needle him, or is he trying to like gut punch him?
To visually sort of communicate.
And it's that's quite a fun one. We had a lot of fun with it. There was another guy who did. They had a three-way discourse, and one of the guys was a Chinese fella, and he was a very physically active guy. He always loved like physical comedy, and so he was in his element for this segment. And he did a thing that was sort of like a wax on wax off sort of a. He was this martial artist, and these other two dudes were trying to like beat him up while they're trying to attack him in this scene, and he's like just not even breaking a sweat, just blocking them with single fingers and stuff like this.
Right.
It was amazing to watch. Yeah, it's quite a fun block, but it does remind me of what you were saying. Like, they could have shown just an argument between this gang leader saying, and then after a while he goes, I can't get through to this guy, I guess I'll join your gang. Yeah. But they chose to show it as a fight.
I've never thought about that, but that totally makes sense as a visual medium.
Yeah.
You want to...
It just makes it more engaging to watch as opposed to listen to as a podcast.
Sure.
The other thing that Boichi does a lot of is that thing that you mentioned about Wakaba, where like you get a cartoonized, distorted version of something to express an emotion.
Yeah.
He uses it a lot for comedy.
Right.
Like when he goes, there's a shot of I've forgotten the guy's name, but the guy who's running the Gunken is like, I can't defeat him, and then it does like a real basic minimalized version of him with his hands up, like, okay, I give up, and then Ken, like his like a little version of him is punched right past him and into the wall, and his hands all red, and so there's a lot of that in there as well.
Yes,
it's a good manga. The other thing that I did was I started watching Yu-Yu-Hakusho, which is a 1992. I said sheepishly because I wasn't entirely sure. Shonen battle manga. What can I say? I've heard good things. Usually I watch something because I hear good things, not because I hear bad things. But I've heard that it's the best example of 90s shonen. So when you compare it to shows that were coming out at the same time, like Dragon Ball and such, it handles its genre a lot better. Like the fights are contextual, the characters are better developed, there's more character drama. I'm not that far in. I'm only 4 episodes in, and so I haven't really gotten too far into it. But the premise is the main character, Yusuke Urameshi, is a high school student, and he's a bit of a delinquent. Doesn't get on with any of his teachers, but it does the whole thing of like there are these guys, they've stolen a wallet. And one guy's like, well, how'd you get it? And he goes, I just told him I was Urameshi's cousin. You're not Urameshi's cousin. He's so stupid he probably wouldn't even realize it wasn't his cousin. And then he's behind them, and they're like, oh, I'm sorry. And then a teacher walks past, sees two guys freaking out and a wallet on the ground, and the teacher's like, "You stealing these kids' wallet?" So he's actually he's not as bad as everybody, as his reputation leads people to believe. He gets home and his mum is a drunk, belligerent, good for nothing, not working, useless parent. Like, the house is in disarray. He gets home from school at 4 would be a good time to get home, and she's still in bed, and she's drunk still, and he's like, so he's a product of his environment a little bit. And so he goes out again, and he sees a kid playing on the street, and he yells at the kid because he's playing on the street, you're gonna get hit by a car. And the kid starts to cry, so he makes funny faces and makes the kid all happy again. And then he goes to walk off, and the kid goes back to playing in the street, and he's like, I'm gonna leave him. And then he sees a car coming, and he runs, and he saves the kid from getting run over, and he dies. Dead. And then he's a ghost, and he's like, "Oh, check me out, I'm a ghost." No, he doesn't. He's like, "What? Am I dead? What's going on?" And then a Grim Reaper, who is a pretty anime witch, she's riding on a broom. She's like, "I'm a Grim Reaper, and you're dead." She says, "Well, if I'm being honest, we didn't think you'd die today. Play that scene over and over again. We never thought you would have saved that kid. A person like you, no way." And he's like, well, at least I got to do one good thing with my life before I died. I think I can go to heaven or hell happy. She goes, "Well, actually, that kid wasn't going to die." Yeah, that car was about to swerve if you hadn't gotten in the way. He's like, so I died for nothing? So while they're trying to figure out what to do with him, he goes to his own wake and sees the people who he's leaving behind who are upset, like his mum, his childhood friend who's a girl. You can see where that one's going. And the forever rival, which is the anime archetype of the Vegeta. The guy who is just Gary. Gary from Pokemon, just always the rival for whatever. And he's like, "Oh, you can't fight me." It's voiced by Vegeta as well.
Oh, really?
But Christian Sabat. And he's like, people do miss me. And then he goes to the afterlife to meet the guy who runs the afterworld, and it's a little baby, whatever. He says, "Listen, because this is a rare circumstance, I'm going to give you a trial, and if you can complete the trial, then maybe you can come back to life." And he gives him a golden egg, and he says that egg will absorb all of your vibes. If it absorbs mostly good vibes, it will transform into a familiar and guide you back to your body. If it hatches after absorbing bad vibes, it will turn into a monster and kill you forever, and you won't go to heaven or hell. So he's got to try and be good and be dead and not let his body be cremated.
In the afterworld then?
No, he's hanging out around town, doing good deeds and such.
Right.
So you can interact with the real world?
Only with people when they're asleep, and only with people who have a high connection to the spirit world, which is just people who...
Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah.
Whoopi Goldberg. His forever rival. He can't talk to him directly, but he can give him feelings. It's pretty enjoyable, though. There hasn't been really any fighting so far. I mean, his rival and him have gotten into a couple fights, but it's enjoyable. It seems very lighthearted. From what I understand, it takes a sharp turn after the first arc. It's Yu-Yu-Hakusho translates into Ghost Hunters or something similar. Yeah. But apparently after that, it goes into demons and other worlds and tournaments and a bunch of shit. So I'm going to keep watching that. But slowly, I think it's pretty enjoyable, light-hearted, and better than Dragon Ball Z. Fight me. Fuck it. I forgot to do fake views this week. I was busy as well. I can use it as an excuse as well. I did two things. The other thing that I was doing was preparing for next week's episode, but we'll talk about that at the end, because right now it's time for me to do a recommendation. Listen to me talk more.
We're changing the name of the podcast.
I feel it's me being self-conscious because I feel like I talk too much. But Curtis talked and you talked.
Yeah,
so
I had some words today.
Had some words to add that were relevant. This week I am recommending Trigun, which is an anime, of course. What else would it be? That came out.
Trigun, which is a new brand of bleach that I'm using for cleaning my bathroom.
It came out in the 90s. I didn't research what year because I'm lazy. But it's a good show. It's about a man called Vash the Stampede with $100 billion bounty on his head. It's set in...
Is that a thing? What's a $1?
It's just set in the future, right? Just like chill, get into it. It's set in the future in a far-flung planet, I assume. Everything's a desert. It looks like a Western show,
right?
But with a few robots here and there, and guys with like cybernetic enhancements, that kind of thing.
So some sort of space western.
Yeah, a space western,
like cowboys and like Bebop.
that is more space than western. This is more western than space. Definitely more western.
Firefly's space western.
More western than Firefly,
right?
Because they don't really go off-world ever,
right?
And all the stuff about why they're on this planet is late game spoilers,
right?
It's a comedy action series. He's got this terrible reputation for just destroying whole towns and killing everybody that he passes in his wake. And the start of the show is actually following 2 insurance brokers who are trying to follow him so that they can see whether or not they have to pay out the damage that he leaves in his wake. And Vash the Stampede is a guy in a big red trench coat, so he's not good at hiding, very easy to spot. But people don't know that he's him because he's so friendly and kind and helpful. And as it would turn out, by the end of the episode, the thing that causes all the damage in his wake are the bounty hunters trying to catch him, or the other people trying to get him out of their town. They end up all he does is dodge bullets. He never gets hit by a bullet, and he's so good at shooting that when he pulls, like, he can shoot other people's bullets out of the sky.
Oh, right, yeah.
And it just followed the story of him traveling around avoiding capture, and these insurance brokers deciding whether or not they have to pay out, and whether or not he's responsible, and whether or not they should have a special Vash insurance policy. The first 12 episodes or so are kind of just episodic little adventures, self-contained, and then second half are like, why is he so good at shooting? Why are they on this weird space planet? All that kind of stuff. Why does he have? Where did his reputation come from? You don't just start with this kind of thing. So there is a bit more of a story. The character designs are some of the best 90s character designs. Like Vash's character design is really striking with his 2 huge magnums and his weird little arm that he has. It's not little. It's just detailed.
Got a huge arm. In my head now.
Little tiny arm.
Tiny little arm and 2 massive magnums.
Yeah.
My favourite character in the show is a priest called Nicholas D. Wolfwood, wears a blue shirt and sunglasses, and he carries a huge cross on his back, and like when he gets introduced, he's talking about how it's his cross to bear, and it's all wrapped up in cloth, so you can't see it. And then when he rips the cloth off of it, it is a huge gun, and each of the 4 points of the cross shoot different kinds of ammunition.
Wow.
Like, the long end is a sniper rifle, because fucking of course it's a sniper rifle.
Right.
You flip it around to the shortest end possible, and that's a bazooka. It's a rocket launcher. And then I can't remember what the other 2 little bits are, but it's just...
Flamethrowers.
They don't all...
maybe one of them's a flamethrower.
They don't all shoot at once.
No. They don't.
That's a really shitty design for a gun.
The way that he spins it is the intersection of the cross is a rotating handle. So like you hold onto it and spins the gun. Fucking cool design.
That is a cool thing.
And he's my favorite character. It's really funny. It's well animated, and the movie that came out in the mid 2000s called Badlands Rumble, it's just kind of set in the middle of the series. It's more of a this also happened.
Is it just the one series?
It's just one season. Yeah, it's 26 episodes. Right. But the movie was just a little addition, and the animation quality in that, obviously because it's a movie, is a lot higher, and that is a lot of fun if you liked the series.
Right.
It introduces a new bad guy as a foil to Vash. Because that's the other thing. Vash has a absolute no-kill policy. He to the point where he refuses to let other people kill people, which is where shooting other people's bullets comes into play.
Right.
Because he's like, no, can't let that person die. Bang, bang, bang. Yeah. So if you like the show, I would recommend the movie as well if you haven't seen that for whatever reason. Badlands Rumble. Check it out. Well, fucking don't. Like, whatever. Yeah, but we're moving to the wrap-up! podcasts are made of these pocket flies and killer bees. Words that rhyme are things like knees. That's the wrap-up rap, guys. Getting better. Thinking of rhyming words. Does it make sense? Is it coherent? Should I stop? Find out the answers to these questions and more next week on our Halloween Spooktacular. I'm just going to recommend some horror stuff instead of normal stuff. That'll be what the difference is, and I'll have read some more horror stuff to talk about.
I have a lot fewer assignments and things due next week, so I'll make sure to watch something scary to talk about.
You don't have to do that. I know that you've got a weak heart. Is that the term? Is that not what the idiom is?
I knew what you meant. Well, no, I don't think that means. I don't think that means what you think it means. But I knew what you meant, and I'm not that delicate, so
Okay.
I can handle something.
What is the
I
thing?
don't like horror films. That's all.
What don't you like? Have we had this discussion? What don't you like about horror films?
I don't. Well, I've got a very active imagination, so like.
So you go away from the movie and you're just
I'm
terrified.
terrified. I'm like can't turn the lights off before going upstairs because I'm like, now it's dark and there's a monster behind me. And I'm a very like skeptical person in my day-to-day life, and I know that monsters don't exist, but I'm still like,
I'm similar. I don't watch a lot of horror films, but yeah, I get that thing as well. I went and watched it, and then so you're walking at your door and at nighttime and it's just pitch black, and so you can't look at the shadows because someone could be in the shadows,
We'll talk about these and more examples next week on the Halloween Spooktacular. I'm sure that Utena will be equally as spooky because it knew when we were going to watch it. And I know you're looking at your watch and you're thinking, 7 days from now, that's not Halloween. Listen, we would be releasing on like November 1st or 2nd, but that's after Halloween.
Yeah.
I know that it's closer to Halloween, but it's post-Halloween. Halloween has been.
Yeah.
So what you need to do is not listen to next week's episode when it gets released because you're going to wait until Halloween.
you listen to it on Halloween.
Or, what do I always love doing, Robert? I like tearing down tried and true traditions and building my own holidays. So whenever we release next week's episode, that's
when Halloween is.
That's not. We have to rename it.
Halloween.
Halloween.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Thank you.
There you go.
If you want to get in touch and, I don't know, tell us things, whether you're a friend or a foe, we'd like to hear from both. You can do so on social media, Twitter, Reddit, Facebook. Give us a like. Get up to 96 because that's the new sex position that I invented.
Tell a friend.
Or don't tell a friend, but
Tell a foe.
No. Tell a foe, or don't tell a friend and give them a little Halloween present. Just download it onto their iPhone pad, their Samsung, without telling them.
Yeah.
And then they'll be spooked. What? I haven't heard of this podcast. And then you just gotcha. Or you can email us directly at KYFCaYAC @gmail.com. That's KYFCaYAC @gmail.com. But until next week, I have been your anime composer, Joel.
I have been your anime pianist, Robert.
I've been your anime triangle, Curtis.
My podcast's big and it keeps getting bigger. Freestyling.
Freestyling.